Welcome everyone to the PokeHub ModCast. I'm your host Kibo, and I'm joined here today with my colleague ChipFoo.
That's me.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm intrigued to be here.
That's good.
I guess I should explain who I am.
Yes, please. Can you give us a little insight on the ChipFoo?
Okay, so I could tell you where the name comes from, but first of all, I should say I work with you on the Switch Up. My job for the company is basically that I do all of the media-related stuff. So I design the packaging, I do all of the videos and advertisements and pretty much anything to do with media, product, photography. I have a small team that works on all of this stuff. So they do some of the work, I do some of the work. But the name ChipFoo comes from something, I guess it was a long time ago now. I must have been about 18, 19. So we're probably looking at like 2007. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
And there is a very popular company that makes chips. I won't mention their names. But they ran a competition. And you had to make your own advertisement for those chips. And obviously, like I've been working in media since I was 17.
Wow.
So I entered this competition, and my take on the advertisement was that you could have these kind of like ninjas who use the chips as throwing stars. You know, we'd be like throwing these chips and it would, I banged my arm on the table. We'd be throwing these chips and they all go in slow motion, and then like you go cross-eyed as they fly past the screen and stuff like that. So that's kind of where ChipFoo came from.
Wow.
It's my chippy version of Kung Fu.
Oh, okay. ChipFoo.
ChipFoo.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see where you're coming from now. That is hilarious.
So in the kind of sphere of, you know, what could we do in terms of mods and how can we do something cool in Pokemon Sword and Shield? What would be like your dream mod that probably would never exist because it'd probably be too difficult or the game won't allow it to happen or something? What would be like the craziest mod that would be so perfect?
Oh my goodness. That's quite the question.
Yeah.
I'd have to think about that.
I mean, for me, if I was really into the game, and I probably would be if I get it and play it a lot.
Absolutely.
Like I can see myself getting sucked into that, like I did with Breath of the Wild, because totally sucked into that.
Yeah.
I think for me, it would be a mod where it could control what Pokemon you have in a fight. So, like, this would never, like I'm saying, this is dream mod land, right? This would never happen. But for me, it would be like, okay, you come up against this really strong Pokemon. It's amazing. And you're like, it's gonna crush me, right? But I want it. And the only way to get it is to beat it. So it'd be amazing if you could have a mod that matches the enemy type that you find. So say if you came up against like some Gigantamax version of, I don't know, Charizard or something, and you're like really low level, and the closest thing you've got is like a Squirtle, right? There'd be like this mod that says, okay, you've got Charizard, we're gonna now change the game somehow so that you have Charizard as soon as you start the battle. And then you face off like on equal terms, and you've got to try and win it, because once you come out of the battle, your Charizard vanishes.
Oh.
And if you win it, you get it.
Okay.
That would be awesome.
That would be a very cool thing to have.
It would never happen, but it's so amazing to think of that.
I mean, we can dream.
Well, this is the dream segment of the ModCast.
The fantasy.
The fantasy section. Like, what would yours be then if you could just do anything?
Well, I kind of like that you brought up the battle aspect of it. I think if we had a Pokemon, like you go into a battle and it's a water type Pokemon or fire type Pokemon, it will basically go through your team or your Pokédex or what all the Pokemon you've caught.
Like optimized.
And then basically like an optimized. It'll
like
pick
which
the best
one of yours is the best one to fight this Pokemon.
Which one has the best abilities, the best stats, the best, that it's gonna take down this Pokemon in like one hit or something.
Because it's like you're not changing anything, all it's doing is helping you make the best decision.
Yeah, it's going to optimize and basically give you your best chance to catch the Pokemon by giving you the best one to use for the battle.
That would be pretty awesome. I can see why that would be good.
Yeah, it's like Weapon AI, but for Pokemon.
Yeah.
Pokemon AI.
Pokemon AI.
Oh my gosh, that is a dream for me, I think.
I wonder if that's possible.
Oh my
We
gosh.
should talk to Majestic Moose about this.
I think we should definitely bring this up.
We should get our Majestic Moosey dreams on right now.
I think so. Majestic Moose, we have some dreams to tell you.
Yeah.
We want them to come true. Maybe he'll make one happen.
Maybe.
I mean, he's worked some pretty wondrous things.
He can do some magic stuff.
Yeah, it honestly feels like magic with some of the things he's done. It's like, dude, kudos. Oh my goodness.
The best phrase, which is appropriate here, that I heard on another podcast the other day, was this guy said it's borderline magic. And I think that's exactly what Majestic Moose can do.
I agree fully.
Yeah.
Borderline magic. I love
borderline magic.
That sums it right up. I think that's what the Switch Up is. It is borderline magic.
So I kind of wanted to ask you some questions because I listened to the first ModCast. And I don't play the Pokemon games. I mean, I've played the Pokemon games, but I'm not like a current player.
Okay.
So, I mean, my sort of love of Pokemon kind of came from when I used to play Pokemon Red on the original Game Boy, showing my age yet again.
That's a throwback.
Yeah, on like the big chunky gray Game Boys with the big purple buttons. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've sort of dipped in and out of it. I used to watch the cartoons when they were out when I was in high school.
Yeah, same.
But you know, I've played a bit of the games to try and get up to speed with the mods and how everything works so that we can then produce the videos and all the accompanying material for the company. And I mean, it's pretty amazing what we can do. Like, you just plug this little USB stick in.
And hit a button, practically. Hold a button and push another.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and also, you know, you can connect almost any controller to it as well.
Yeah, basically any first-party controller.
Yeah, and I mean, I might not be like the biggest Pokemon person, but I am a Nintendo person.
Yeah.
And I've been into Nintendo since forever. I was a massive N64 person, GameCube person back in the day. And so I know that a lot of people in the community, they like to use the Wii U Pro Controller. So having the ability to use the Wii U Pro Controller when you already have one, so you don't have to buy a Switch Pro Controller on your Switch, great thing, right?
Exactly, and it saves you also a lot of money because those controllers are expensive these days. They go up to $80.
They are not cheap.
No, so if you have one already, now it's great.
Yeah.
You can buy this little USB stick and be able to use
which is pretty damn affordable.
Exactly, it's $20 USD.
Yeah.
And I mean, hey, $20 compared to $80, I'm gonna go for that.
Is it 80?
Mods.
Is it $80
for controllers?
For a Pro Controller?
A Pro Controller, I'm not sure, but normally a new controller is around.
Because they're not
price.
cheap. See, the last one I bought was when I lived back in the UK. Okay. And so I think I paid £60.
Oh, okay.
Which is quite a lot. Like, how much is that in Canadian? That's like $90, $95, something like that.
Probably after tax. That sounds about right.
So it was a lot. Mm-hmm. But if you already got a Wii U Pro Controller, and like Wii U Pro Controller is awesome. Oh, they're very great. Comfortable. I have to say though, talking Pro Controllers, this Switch Pro Controller, hands down my favorite controller ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's just so comfortable, and the big buttons. Also, the thumbsticks are really nice.
Yeah, I do like the buttons. How you really feel the press on them. It's just nice to hit.
Like it's like when you get a really good keyboard or on your laptop or on your PC. Yeah. And it's just clicky, and you can feel it. It's like that, but with a controller.
Okay, it's satisfying. It's yeah.
That's why I love the Pro Controller. I'd say it's because I'm a big PlayStation person. I would say I'm a little bit more into PlayStation than Nintendo. Yeah, but I prefer the Pro Controller over the DualShock 4.
Really?
Yeah, by miles. And before that, probably like 5 or 6 years ago, my top controller of all time was like the Xbox 360 one.
Really?
Yeah, and now.
See, for me, I prefer, I think, the DualShock 4 controllers because just for my hands, because they're smaller, it just
Right.
fits better. And also, I love that the analog sticks, for some reason, especially playing faster games.
Is
I
it
love
because
to-
they're like in line with each other?
I think
and
so,
they're not
'cause-
like offset?
Exactly, because as soon as you put those offset analog sticks in my hands, if I have to hit them at the same time, it's like I just,
Right.
for some reason, with them not being aligned, it just,
Yeah.
I can't click it as well with my left finger.
So imagine if they made the Switch Pro Controller exactly the same, but with aligned I was going to say Joy-Cons then.
Oh, yeah.
Aligned thumbsticks.
See, I
That'd
would
be
buy
pretty
that.
impressive, right?
I would love that. I
Yeah.
would like to see that. I think I would buy that for sure.
Yeah.
And that would probably become my
I think I
choice
would
of
buy that for
controller.
sure as well.
Yeah.
I think, talking about the controller functionality of the Switch Up and everything, to kind of get back to the topic, it offers so much for so little. And, anyone can just pay that $20 USD and then they can enhance their game, right? But I think really for me, it's this phenomenon where people are really, really into this. Pokemon players, more than anyone, it seems, right?
Oh, it seems like they're ecstatic about this game. It's like Pokemon is all over everywhere right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the draw to it is the shiny Pokemon, the grinding, the collecting, the whole living decks, Pokédex, filling your Pokédex. People just love to.
I think they kind of sum it up with collect them all. And people love collecting stuff. People love having all of these different things and different variations. I mean, that's why so many people have things in their house now compared to like 30 years ago.
That's
People
very
didn't have
true.
loads of stuff in their house. They just had a TV and whatever their one thing that they used all the time.
Yeah, bare necessities.
Yeah. And like now, look at Funko Pops.
Oh my gosh,
Right.
don't get me started.
But that's like, people enjoy that as a hobby, collecting figures. Same thing with Pokemon, only you're doing it digitally in the game, right?
I think it has the same kind of addictive manner to it where it's like you just want to catch them all.
Yeah.
And so
there's
you
like a lot
wanna
of
collect them
pleasure.
all.
There's a lot of pleasure in like collecting them and knowing that you've collected them. And I think my takeaway is that the reason people seem to like it so much is because Pokemon games inherently are grindy.
Yes, that's very true. The grind is unbelievable in every single Pokemon game I've ever played since I
I thought you were
going to
say the grind is real.
The grind is real. It is. Oh,
It
Man.
just seems like they make these games with this ridiculous grind into them. And I guess in some ways that's fun, but there's also kind of like a point where it gets to where it's too much, right? Because people have lives.
Well, that's just it. And you see a lot of these people, especially streamers, you just type it in and they're shiny chaining for already 10 hours.
Right.
And they've just been sitting there and cycling themselves, getting eggs and riding their bikes in a circle or walking in a circle for hours. And it really gets to a point where you get tired of it. You don't want to keep doing it, but you still want that shiny.
So this is like where I'm kind of thinking of now is there must be a point that you get to where I love this game, but I just can't grind all the time through this game because I'm starting to get bored of something I love. That's got to exist, right?
Oh, it does, 100%, because the longer you do the same thing, like even though the end goal is to get that shiny, it just becomes so almost boring.
Monotonous?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very tedious, the grind, you get tired of it really quick. And at least for me, really quick would be probably 5 to 6 hours of sitting there and doing it myself.
Right.
And then
Right.
I would get tired. But
6
5
hours.
to
See, I
s-
couldn't do that. Like, I could play The Witcher or Skyrim for 400 hours, but that's a different type of grind.
exactly.
Do you know what I mean? I could
Yeah.
not cycle in a circle to get a shiny for 400 hours.
No, because you're
Like,
staring at the same
yeah.
thing. How can no one get tired of that? Like,
Yeah, I mean that, and I think that's for me, like from a slightly outside perspective, as someone who just very casually is into Pokemon. I think for me, it's like you see these people cycling in circles and doing the same thing over and over again. And it's like, okay, this game looks great. Like, I'm super into it, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah. Like, I don't have time for that. I have a life, you know? And I think that's where the switch up kind of has its power.
Exactly. That's where it comes into play for those who don't have the time. Or if you want to have a life, or if you have to work every day, go to school, you just set it up to do your shiny hunting for you. And that's the glory of it, is that you don't have to sit there and do it yourself, but you can have what these people have been doing themselves,
striving to do by hand.
For days and days, and endlessly grinding the game to try and get that one shiny. You can just start up your mod and let it do it while you're away.
Yeah, it's like what's that guy who did a video about our product? Austin John Plays. Yeah. Yes. So, you know, he called his video AFK shiny chaining.
Yes.
And that's exactly what it is.
Exactly.
Away from keyboard. Well, I guess it's away from controller, right? So it's AFC.
AFC,
right? Yeah. But that's exactly what it is. I guess we should say goodbye.
Yes. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you all for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening to my noob questions.
And sitting here and having a chat.
Yeah.
It was great.
Hopefully, we'll see you again.
Yeah, we'll catch you at the next PokeHub.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks for listening.
Thank you.